Alrighty, so late night rambling. I want to make an antithesis video to the one I made previously when I said people shouldn't bet against Capcom for making consistently good games. I believe they have made quality games back to back to back, but I also want to have this discussion to say, is there anything that I don't like personally? And I came down to 5 sort of answers. So number 1 is Resident Evil multiplayer. I personally believe that Capcom has not hit the mark on Resident Evil multiplayer as it stands now. People are just not invested into PvP for their reasons, like maybe they don't find it to be that appealing or that interesting or that attractive enough to stay for far too long. We saw RE Reverse kind of die off after a certain time. So yeah, I don't think that any sort of recent Resident Evil multiplayer has been a live service juggernaut for Capcom. More or less their live service shines with Street Fighter, where they do the fighting game stuff and they update it from there and they get a lot of money. Monster Hunter also does really well on its multiplayer front, and I don't believe that it ever had a problem. So I think personally for RE, they need to find some sort of magic hat trick to make continuous revenue on Resident Evil multiplayer, because as it stands now, Reverse and Resistance really is not cutting it for Capcom in terms of like striking something big like a Street Fighter or something like that. I believe a solution to this is Mercenaries, monetizing that in some capacity and giving a large like package to the people, whether you have like a bunch of characters that you can play as, Leon, Chris, Jill, Claire, everyone in like one package, Krauser, Wesker, and just make it a big smorgasbord on a standalone game with a lot of maps, a lot of continuous updates, and a lot of content coming in, new maps coming in, new challenges, and just find a way to price it the right way. I think a full-blown Mercenaries mode with like tons of modes pulled from the other RE games, like maybe Agent Hunt or Onslaught or anything like that, would make a giant multiplayer package if they do it right. And if that's not the case, a lot of people still want Outbreak. Outbreak came out at the wrong time, because now online is kind of like a little bit better, so to speak. So I think their Resident Evil multiplayer live service component hasn't been great. Next, we move on to IP neglect and the winnowing of Clover Studio. Clover Studio was a heavy blow. It even cost like, I think people left after that, like Kamiya and Shinji Mikami, which was just devastating to hear. But they moved on to other ventures, which I'm proud of. Shinji Mikami made Evil Within, Kamiya went to make Bayonetta, started up Platinum Games. It was awesome, it was great. The issue after closing Clover is the IPs itself. I don't think Capcom did a fucking thing with like Okami, God Hand, Beautiful Joe since then. And they are iconic characters and ingrained into the Capcom DNA, which I believe they are definitely being neglected alongside mascots like Mega Man. And it's just kind of troubling. I believe what Capcom should do is find some medium to bring back these older characters and these older games and make new games out of them. Not only Mega Man, but Onimusha as well. There are people that would probably love a new Onimusha game, and I know I will be one of them. Next up is the lack of classic Resident Evil collections on modern hardware. So classic Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3 on your PS4 or PS5. I think people have been asking for this for the longest time, and I'm kind of in agreement. I would love to play those older games with trophy support, going back and getting the platinums and enjoying them, enjoying the features, whether it's like fucking with the filters, rewinding everything. I know they put RE1 director's cut on the PlayStation Plus for PS5, but the problem is that it's locked to Plus and you can't buy that individually. It's a lot of people that are saying they should remove that restriction, and I personally agree. While not only maybe giving these 3 games like some sort of Tomb Raider remaster up-res where it looks cool, it looks a little bit great, they cleaned it up a little bit, and it has like some better controls, quality of life features, you know, little bits and bobs here that would definitely satisfy a lot of older fans, I believe. And I don't know why they haven't done this yet or considered it. It's kind of a money pit. You already put like Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3 on GOG on PC. Why not give the older games another go on modern hardware with the idea that I had in mind? Why not? Number 4, how Capcom licensed out the Resident Evil live action movies. This is a disaster, all right? It goes without saying that that's probably the worst choice I think I ever seen, with them going to Constantine Films and Screen Gems and Sony and giving us the biggest piles of dog shit under their licensed out leadership. And I believe that this needs to change. Let's go to HBO, where they have The Penguin and The fucking Last of Us, and let's make some money there with actual creators who give a damn about live action properties. Let's do this. Let's find some visionary, let's give it to another person, and then we can make some moolah, because I believe there are also folks out there who want to see a live action Resident Evil done right and believe it can be done right. If not just live action, why not an anime or something like that? I believe that RE really needs better adaptations as opposed to the CGI movies, and that's something that Capcom really hasn't addressed or fixed, and they're going back, and I hear rumors that they are remaking RE0 and they're calling it the Umbrella Chronicles, which I don't understand. I thought that was a hodgepodge of people who were in the Raccoon City incident, and it was their stories, not specifically RE0. And supposedly I'm hearing rumors that they're gonna cut out Billy, which is going to be the biggest injustice I ever seen if this movie is true. Look, we don't want live action RE anymore under Sony. In my opinion, they failed. Capcom, please, for the love of God, take back your licensed adaptations from live action studios like Sony, Screen Gems, Constantine Films. They need to get the frick off of Resident Evil now, because it's not doing any good for anyone. No one likes these movies. No one appreciates them. Maybe like people who never seen RE before, but if they go back retroactively, they're gonna say, oh crap, the games are way better. We need better adaptations, and you need to take the reins. You make great CGI movies. Why not just simply take back the reins and license it to HBO and do something innovative and creative with it? It's just a catastrophe at this point, and it's going to keep being that if these movies, if these rumors, if these leaks turn out to be true, because I can't think of an RE0 with Billy cut out of it. I believe that's going to be terrible. All right, like, why are you cutting out a character in the Resident Evil 0 arc? I don't understand it. Last but not least, I believe that Devil May Cry does not get enough love and representation that it's supposed to get, in my opinion. DMC is always in the background compared to something like Resident Evil, Monster Hunter, something of that equivalent, Street Fighter. where it's such a really good series, very rich of gameplay, very innovative, and for some reason it never gets as much love or recognition or entries as one would probably think. Like, I know it's a lot of DMC fans, but what I'm saying is I don't think that Capcom treats it with enough justice to give it consistently good entries. And that's a shame. I think every Devil May Cry fan, I think we all would have the same opinion and say like, yo, why can't DMC get like Resident Evil tier treatment and get a lot of entries that way? I know they're hard games to make, but come the fuck on, man. It's like, damn, like, why can't we get remakes? Why can't we get just a bunch of DMC after DMC 5 sold astronomically? I think that Devil May Cry needs to be put on the Golden Palace and once again given to a team that can make various entries and do creative things with them, and that would be favorable considering how people love Dante so much and love the character so much and love DMC so much. Why not put this series at a forefront? We need this. Honorable mentions of things that Capcom could constructively fix. I do believe that their fighting games could use a lot more variety. We are having the return of the collections like MVC and the Capcom Classic collections, which is nice. Having the older games with rollback, that's cool. But let's see some new rival schools. Let's see some new crossover fighting games, like maybe Capcom versus SNK 3. That would be great. I'm not sure about the whole Marvel thing, but considering that the collection is indeed a reality, is happening, we could try to pull some strings and make a new MVC. I think that'd be pretty hype. I don't know how it's gonna go, but maybe Marvel has lightened the load in terms of what they want, and you know, maybe they see it as a money pit considering the fact that we have this licensed collection that nobody thought was happening. But like at the end of the day, I think we need more variety with the fighting games. Bring back Darkstalkers. I think that would also be pretty cool to put that on the table, and maybe bring back your beat 'em ups too, like Final Fight. That would be really enjoyable. I would love to see you do something innovative with that. The entire boom started to rise up again with beat 'em ups when Streets of Rage 4 came out, so we can probably make a Streets of Rage 4 tier Final Fight game, and that'd be awesome. That's the only thing I think they are missing in my opinion. Otherwise, Capcom is like almost nigh flawless. They work, they do the extra deeds, but these sort of constructive criticisms are probably things that I would want to see return, and they're more or less like some demands, requests. Maybe bring back Ashura's Wrath. That's another honorable mention. Those are honorable mentions, but those are my honorable mentions, and those are my 5 main points for things that Capcom should do or fix or alter. It's not like a big sort of detriment, but it is like a poking problem to some people, and hopefully you got the message and understood the video, and maybe we'll agree with some of these sentiments. Tell me what you think in the comment section below and let me know, and I will see you guys next time. Laters.